Hey there, friends. It's Donovan Hilton, your brand building and relationship management advisor. And today we're going to be talking about branding and more so in branding, storytelling. We're going to make this Daily Insight a series. We'll call this Daily Insight, we'll call it the branding framework. And in this particular case, we're going to talk about what branding is, first of all. What branding is, why should we care, and how do we capitalize on branding? And so if you didn't know, there is a marketing term. And in this case, this is a marketing conversation. And we're talking about marketing. Marketing in its root words is awareness. Marketing is a strategy or a tool used to create awareness. And so, ironically, when we're talking about marketing and awareness, this conversation is to bring more awareness to you about your brand. Your brand, be it your organization, or more importantly, starting with yourself, your personal brand. Your personal brand is going to reflect your professional brand. Your professional brand is going to reflect the organization, if you will. And so right now, we really want to make sure we're aware that there is this tool, this idea of branding. And so you probably already know what it's about, but in so many words, branding is how your customers see you. Branding is how your customers see you. And your customers are who? Technically everyone, on a personal sense, because these individuals are your neighbors and you're walking and engaging around them and with them throughout your whole life, maybe one time or several times. But everyone on a personal note is a customer, and you want to make sure that you are getting positive reviews, not because you're a pushover, but because you're able to discuss your expectations, your disclaimers about your own policies, if you will. And so, not to get too much off topic, bringing it back to branding, you definitely want to make sure that you are focusing on, again, on a personal side, everyone is a customer. What do you mean by that? Well, your neighbor, you have to work around them, deal around them. Your coworkers, you have to work around them, deal around them. Your family, you have to work around them, deal around them, if you will. These people you have to interact with on a regular basis. And so they have a perception of you. And it really doesn't matter, but at the same time, we're looking at customers and we're talking about service. Service is based on value. And what value are you providing? So when we're talking about your neighbor, what value are you providing for your neighbor? Well, you're someone that keeps the trash cleaned and organized. You don't have your guests, respectfully making a lot of loud noise and throwing alcohol bottles in the middle of the yard. Your dog's not, leaving their remains, if you will, their business on their lawn. Those are ways where someone that's a neighbor can say, man, I have the best neighbor. I mean, they mind their own business. They make sure everything's tidied up. They're respectful. That's value. And that's a customer, because you could have a neighbor saying, oh man, I can't stand this individual. And so same thing with your family, your closest family member right now. What do you feel that they would say about you? And that kind of brings the value to the conversation. Is this individual helpful, or is this individual not helpful? And they're a customer because you're interacting with them regularly. And guess what? They're interacting with you regularly. So you should be their customer too. So what review would you give them? And that goes also into your into your workspace, your coworkers. How do they perceive you? How do you perceive them? And that's where you get a lot of high turnover at different companies, because you have individuals that ultimately, are not providing that value. Someone may, be busting their butt, at work, and something happens personally where they have to take some time off, and the supervisor respectfully, wants to maybe be a jerk about it and not allow this individual off because, whatever reason, even though they may have the situation where they could allow that person off, but they want, all kind of stuff. But again, it's how do you provide value? And so now that's a personal perspective. But when we're talking about professional perspective, well, that's a personal perspective. And then with their coworkers, you're going into your professional perspective. But then at the same time, we're talking about an organization. What do your customers say about you? What do you want your customers to say about you? That's what we mean by branding.